Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think it's just gone 2 o'clock. Welcome to the Everywhere International SMEs EIS final conference. My name is John Fitzgibbon. I work for Hampshire County Council, and for the past 4 years, almost 4 years, I've had the absolute pleasure to be the project manager for this Interreg Europe funded project. So if you stick with us over the next 90 minutes, you're going to hear a lot of talk about the Global EIS tool, which is the cornerstone of the methodology that we developed as part of this project by the 7 participating EIS regions. And hopefully that might be something that you want to consider importing into your region, either fully or partially, to help more SMEs to internationalize. We're going to try today to get interactive with you. So we have a Slido poll that's running currently, which you can join and input to. So if you go onto slido.com, or you actually download the app, and then next to the hashtag you put in the words EIS10, then you can access the poll. And equally, there is also the chat bar down the side, so you can also contact us in that way. We hope that we'll be able to answer some of the questions today. If we can't, because we've got quite a packed agenda, then we will come back and answer those bilaterally with you afterwards. Okay, so why the EIS project, EIS, why Everywhere International SMEs? Principally 2 reasons. We want more international SMEs compared to companies operating only domestically. Internationally successful companies are more innovative. They're resilient, they've diversified their risk, they create spillovers for the whole economy, and international companies typically exemplify a better skills base than those that just operate domestically. And by that I mean things like the sort of softer skills that you pick up from cultural awareness through operating in international markets. The second reason was that we principally believe that business support organisations, or BSOs as we refer to them, public or private, within the regional ecosystem should not compete ideally with one another, but should complement each other's activities and have a clear role and commitment to the region's internationalisation strategy. We also wanted to build the right framework for BSOs, the business support organisations, and their SMEs to help them overcome the barriers to internationalisation. It is, after all, easier to follow a process. We wanted to create a culture of internationalisation, one where we could be more proactive on behalf of our business support organisations and the SMEs, the small, medium-sized enterprises, and hence we developed the Global EIS tool, which we believe is something that any region can apply either fully or partly in its own context, and you'll be hearing about that from our speakers in a short while. So just for clarification purposes, when we talk about internationalisation, we principally mean exporting, operating in new country markets, both within the EU single market and beyond. But we're aware that has many different connotations, and that COVID-19 is actually strengthening the digitisation of international business models, as well as impacting decisions on plans for internationalisation in uncertain global markets. This is another reason why a strategic approach offered by the Global EIS tool makes good sense for regions. So, with an estimated 25 million SMEs in the European Union, SME policy must be mainstreamed, but there's sometimes a discrepancy between the wishes of policymakers and the requirements of SMEs. It's pleasing, however, to note that from now on, all new free trade agreements negotiated by the European Union, hopefully also with the United Kingdom, will have an SME component in them. Okay, time to hand over to our first speaker. The keynote speaker is Councillor Andrew Joy from Winchester, Hampshire County Council. He is the Cabinet Member for Communities, Partnerships and External Relations, and I'm delighted he's with us today because he was there at the launch event in Winchester in March 2017, and he also attended the midterm conference in Gdansk that we held in October 2018, so he's on for the hat trick today. So if I can hand over the floor to Councillor Andrew Joy.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everybody from Hampshire. When I addressed the launch event for the EIS project in Winchester 3.5 years ago, we really were not sure what kind of a journey we were undertaking. Yes, we had the vision, the approved application, and a work plan structure to guide us. We also had financial support from Interreg Europe, which was not just useful but essential, thank you. And we had a group of enthusiastic partners, some well known to us, some less so, and some who we were meeting for the first time. As lead partner, we were not fully aware of the sheer volume of administration needed to deliver such a project stretching over 4 years, coupled with a degree of risk of carrying responsibility for over €1 million of EU taxpayers' money. Now, nearly 4 years later, any doubts and concerns we may have had over the implementation of the EIS project have been consigned to history. The EIS project has met its objectives. Every region has played its full part. Colleagues have remained committed throughout, and the action plans, as you will hear about shortly, have either significantly delivered or will continue to deliver against the objectives designed and agreed at the end of phase 1 nearly 2 years ago. If I were to pick out just a few project highlights, these would include the development of the global EIS tool, a substantial and tangible legacy of the project that's being embedded in the international business support activities of the participating regions, and we anticipate further afield. The effective and dynamic collaboration developed by the officers from all partners through the 9 workshops professionally and warmly hosted by each of the partner regions, providing the impetus to undertake much informative work on peer reviews, good practices, the global EIS tool, and more. Also, the address given by Mrs. Bienkowska, former European Commissioner for Enterprise and Industry, at the EIS midterm conference in Gdansk in October 2018, in which she praised the efforts and relevance of projects like EIS, and lastly, the clear benefits to the international business support system, and specifically the SMEs that benefit from the outcomes of this project, particularly with access to a much improved predictor of success. However, we cannot ignore the impact of the coronavirus. In a world severely damaged and still very much threatened by the COVID-19 pandemic, there are some aspects which EIS in its own small way has on its journey sought to address and which will ensure a lasting impact. We know that looking forward, greater growth opportunities exist beyond Europe's borders in the developing economies of Asia, Africa, and South America. A greater systematization of international support for SMEs by business support organizations in the EIS regions means SMEs will be better equipped to grasp these opportunities. We know that SMEs become more resilient if they internationalize, that they are a crucial creator of jobs, but they are less likely than large companies to benefit from the opportunities afforded by global free trade agreements, which fundamentally need to be better explained to them at the local or regional level. I know that the European Union is addressing this through a mix of programme and policy by identifying the right SMEs to internationalise for the right reasons and with the appropriate levels of support. EIS is helping SMEs to become more robust. In the UK, we need our SMEs, supply chains and business support organisations to trade, work with and continue to exchange knowledge with our close partners in Europe. This scope for interconnection cannot justifiably be overlooked in the search for mutual opportunity and benefit. EIS has provided some valuable direction to support organisations seeking, among their own SMEs, to identify potential winners in international markets. With the EIS project now coming to its formal end, there's good reason to be optimistic about the links the project has fostered. We hope that these will remain as strong outside the formal project environment as they have been within it. In Hampshire, international links continue to be of vital importance, irrespective of politics. We remain open for discussion about new ventures and look forward to future collaboration in whatever format this may take. In conclusion, I would like to formally place on record our thanks to the Interreg Europe programme for funding and guiding this project, and above all to our partner regions for their openness, wholehearted and professional engagement, which between us as a team has delivered such a successful project. Thank you, and may I wish you all well-deserved good fortune, a prosperous future, and especially good health.
Thank you, Councillor Joy, for that inspirational speech. Okay, let's have a look at the first Slido poll. We can see many of the regions, countries represented there, as we would expect, would be from the partner regions from within the EIS project. So it's good, but it's equally good to see that other regions are also participating, please join in with the Slido poll. There will be a second one coming up in the not too distant future. Okay, so shall we move on to Lille next, to the Interreg Europe Secretariat, the Joint Secretariat, the funders of the project, who have guided us through their intricate procedures to keep us up on the right Interreg Europe path. Interreg, as we know, is a community of regions, and the projects form part of an Interreg community which is self-supporting. This is a real strength, as it means you can contact other projects with no questions asked. Each project is assigned a dedicated project and finance officer. You're going to hear from us now, Ilaria Ramaglioni and Alexis Francois. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear us well? Can you see the PowerPoint? Very good. Okay, so it's very nice to be with you today in these particular times. We would have preferred, of course, to see you during a real event, let's say, but I mean, this is the best we can do. So I'm Alexis. I'm the finance officer of EIS. I've been following the project almost since the beginning, I would say, and I'm together with Ilaria, policy officer.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm happy to be there. I'm the policy officer, so I was following the content, the activities, and also as Alexis since almost the beginning of the project implementation.
So just to say a few words before we start, we'll just give a very quick, let's say, update on the program, and also we'll again talk about the main features of the program in case not everyone is aware of what the program is doing and how it is doing that. We'll talk about the state of play and the results of the program, then we'll also focus on your project, and there will be also a few moments about the future of the program, because we are now preparing the future program. So,
Voilà, sorry.
So, as I was saying just before, just a few words about the main features of the program in case not everyone is aware of the program, the program rationale. We are the only program covering the whole territory of the Union, plus Switzerland and Norway, so 30 countries involved. We are a capacity building program in the way that we believe in exchange of experience and networking activities, so that local and regional authorities can exchange like their good practices, as we say. So it's really exchange of experience to, in the end, improve their local and regional policies with a focus on structural funds. As you can see on the screen, we are focusing on 4 thematic objectives, and the budget is quite reasonable with 359 million euros for the past period. So if we move on to the next slide, this is the first type of activities that we provide, because we have 2 main type of activities. First being, and largest share of the budget, the projects. We had 4 calls, and we are now working with more than 250 projects. So it's a lot, and we did not expect so many projects. So we were super happy to have so many projects. It was not always easy to manage in terms of internal resources, but we are doing I think we're doing better now, and we are doing our best. So as you can see, we have 25% of managing authorities involved, because those authorities are the main targets of the program, being the responsible for the regional policies. So we are happy about this figure. And as you can also see, all of the countries are also involved in one or several projects. So this is a good thing for us. Now, the second type of activities that we provide, the policy learning platform. The idea of the platform is really to open up the results of the projects beyond their just projects. So to make their results, their findings available to a larger community. So for that, we have an online portal where you can find a good practice database, for instance, because as you know, projects identify good practices which are relevant to their project and topic. And the experts of the policy learning platform, which are behind the web portal, identify also the most relevant to make them available to everyone, to the huge community of peers that we have on this portal. So you can also check the activities there and the latest news of the policy learning platform, because you can also find people that who have the same question as you have, or the same issues, and you could find also answers there and get support also from the experts.
And today it's also the opportunity to talk a bit more about the program achievements, where we stand in terms of implementation. So from more than 1 year now, we are gathering the results from the interregional learning. And today I will not bombard you with a lot of numbers, figures, but I would like to go through briefly on the main indicators of the program to give you a bit an overview of how it's going with the implementation. So as you can see from the slide, more than half of our projects have finished phase 1, so 440 projects. They are now in phase 2. They are implementing their action plans. Almost 3,000 good practices have been identified by our projects during the exchange of experience. Among those practices, 1,700 are now published in the good practice database. Then we have 11,800 people that considers that they increase their professional capacity thanks to their involvement in the project activities, in the project implementation. So as you can see, we almost reached our target of the cooperation program. And at program level, we also validate so far 866 action plans, which is an important achievement. So now our project from first call, second call, and soon third call, they are working in implementing their actions. And we want that this learning can turn into concrete results. So this, as you can see, in terms of results, we are also receiving more and more since more than 1 year policy changes. Our projects are reporting policy changes. So this means that thanks to the interregional cooperation activities, to the exchange, they managed to improve their policy. So, for instance, they launch new initiatives in their territories, a new call for proposal, they approve new projects, they finance new scheme, a voucher scheme. So this is also very positive. We are of course very happy of these achievements. So let's see in numbers. So we have so far received 400 policy changes reported by 126 projects. We tried also to estimate the impact of the program, and when we trying to estimate the impact, we compare the amount invested in our projects, which is the figure in the middle, against the amount of funds influence that can be attributed to the policy changes reported. And as you can see, the budget leverage is almost 4 times than the funds invested. So this is also very positive. It means that our projects manage to allocate new funds for from local, regional, national funding to finance new activities. So you saw this is the state of play. The program implementation was running well. Of course, now we are facing this crisis, and also being an interregional program where people needs to meet, needs to travel, you know very well what is happening now. The impact of COVID-19 was also very strong for the program. We are now trying to readapt the activities to be close to our project, but also to support our community of members. And we have created a dedicated page in our website for COVID-19 matters. So we encourage our projects and in general our community members to share even more on good practices that could be relevant, could be helpful to address some of the challenges raised by this crisis. Of course, I'm not talking only the economic recovery, but these practices that have been identified related to COVID-19 can cover also the other thematic objective of the program. So you, for instance, can search in our good practice database using the keyword COVID-19, but you can also share your experience, your good practices in our system. Then we, for instance, organize a series of online events related to this thematic. There are also our thematic experts of the policy learning platform that now they are giving the priority to support and to give advice to public authorities that needs to face these challenges raised by this crisis. So you can also get in contact with them, ask your questions and try to get some solutions from our members. And of course, there are also news events published by our project partners. So we invite you to have a look at this page and see all this interesting information.
Yes, so now we will focus a bit more on you and first on your family of projects. So we have 66 projects working on supporting the competitiveness of SMEs, and 9 of them are working specifically on the internationalization of SMEs. So you can see on the right side of the screen all the projects that we consider being part of your family of projects, covering pretty much the whole territory of Europe again. So that's just a nice picture we wanted to show you also. And if we zoom in onto your results, then I mean, again, it's the opportunity for us to say thank you for being so active, for going beyond your project scale, let's say. You organized a very nice workshop during the Open Day, I think it was in 2018, with several other Interreg Europe projects actually presenting the impact of your projects on the internationalization of SMEs. The global EIS tool, but I think that we will hear, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we will hear a lot more about the tool, so I will not spend too much time on it. And more than half of your good practices are on the good practice database of the policy learning platform, so that's very good. And over to you, Ila, for the policy instruments improved.
Yes, of course, this is another important aspect and important achievement of your project, because we are very happy and very proud that you managed to improve policy instrument. So you already achieved 4 policy changes. We put here in the slide some examples. Of course, we are not going into detail because for sure we will talk about this later with other colleagues from the project partnership, but we were happy to share this because it's a great achievement. And just to give you an example, for instance, being inspired by the good practices, experiences from other project partners, and also taking into consideration the results, the recommendation from the peer review process that was carried out during the phase 1 of the project. For instance, the Central Denmark region managed to include a new activity in a program dedicated to export and internationalization. Donegal County Council launched a new program within the Ireland Northwest Fund. Then we have another type of change from Emilia-Romagna region with the regional operational program. They changed certain criteria of a 3-call of proposal regarding the evaluation of SME potential, but also the selection of the beneficiaries. And finally, Pomerania Development Agency, working with the managing authority of the regional operational program, they managed to modify a call for proposal by including a specific grant system. So we are very happy about these results, and we congratulate for this great job. And then before giving the floor to John, we would like to close our presentation to give you some information about the future. As you know, at the beginning, Interreg Europe was not included in the draft regulations. Then the European Parliament and the Council asked it to be back, for the program to be back. So now we are in the draft. We had our first programming committee in December 2019. There will be, there was another one in June, and there will be the next one in a few weeks. So our partner states are discussing now about the new program. Of course, it's too early now to go into details about the features of the program, because partner states are still discussing about this, and also the overall framework, the regulation and the dedicated budget have not been approved yet. But we would like to share, what we can share with you now is that we are not expecting a big revolution, but an evolution, as we like to say. Because some of the core elements, the core features will remain. For instance, our pan-European character, so the fact that we are covering all regions in Europe. Also, the objective will remain the same, so we will still to improve regional development policy. The way we are going to do it will more or less remain the same, so through the exchange of experience, the identification of good practices, so our capacity building aspect will remain, but our partner states already express their wish to go for a more evolution regarding, for instance, the focus on structural funds. So they would like to be a bit more open, more flexible in the selection of the policy instrument, and not focus completely on structural funds. Also, they would like to introduce more learning by doing activities such as pilot actions, so to include this type of activities also during the learning phase. Regarding the thematic coverage, the idea would be to select one cross-cutting priority on capacity building in order to be more flexible, and at the same time, any way to keep a smarter Europe, a greener Europe policy objective 1 and 2 as the main priorities. So this is just some insight regarding the discussion that is ongoing. The idea now is to finalize the draft of the cooperation program by the end of the year. Will be published in our program website, so we invite you to follow us in our website and see all the news and the steps. So this is all from our side. We thank you, and we pass the floor to John, and we are available for any question.
Great, thank you very much, Ilaria and Alexis. That was most helpful, particularly the information relating to the new programme. And I noticed as well that you've got an event coming up in October, I think October the 13th, dedicated to the new programming period. So that's something for people to look out for. It's on the Interreg Europe website. Okay, the Slido poll, the second poll is up there now. Please engage with that. Answers are coming in, so check out the second Slido poll that we've got up there about the background of your organisation. We're now going to move to the section relating to unpacking the globalised tool. This is a video that we developed at the end of phase 1. So when we designed the application for the EIS project, we originally had the idea for a 6-step internationalization model. But as we went through the workshops during the first phase of the project, we discovered that actually this was a bit too linear, it was too rigid, too sort of textbook style and dated. So we came up with something that is more reflective of where we are today, the globalized tool, which offers regions a strategic approach to this complex issue. Where it is applied, it can provide the SME a good potential business outcome through an effective joined-up support service. For some of the partner regions, the issue of developing a tool that could influence policy nationally was somewhat uncertain. However, even if you can't influence matters at the national level, you can aspire to do so at the local regional level through better mobilisation of your stakeholders towards common objectives. And this is something that the globalised tool strives to achieve. Here's the video. We don't seem to have any sound on this. Okay, sorry for the fact that there wasn't any sound on that particular video. It is up on our website. Please check it out because I think it's an extremely valuable resource. So please feel free to go and have a look at that in your own time. Just coming back to the Slido poll that we did on what type of organisation. Don't know if we can bring up the results on that, Thomas. Regional authorities, as you would expect, in the ascendancy. Almost 2/3 of the participants today are regional authorities, some business support organisations, which is excellent, a few from national government, which is good to see, a few from universities, no SMEs, unfortunately, a bit disappointing, but okay. Good. All right. So we've heard from the keynote speaker, Councillor Joy, on behalf of the consortium. We've heard from the funders of the project, the Joint Secretariat. Now we're going to dive deeper and hear from the real workers of the EIS project to show you what they've got out of it. And by and large, the team, as Councillor Joy mentioned, has remained fairly consistent throughout the project, which has been great for building relationships and teamwork. We're going to start with Donegal in Ireland, a region of about 160,000 inhabitants with around about 7,000 businesses. Michael Tunney is at the local enterprise office at Donegal County Council in Letterkenny, and in fact it was in Letterkenny in April 2018 where we had the light bulb moment to move away from this 6-step internationalisation model to beginning to map out the globalised tool as we see it today. Michael, over to you to tell us more of how your region has gained from the workings of the EIS project. The floor is yours.
Thank you for the invitation for the final conference. As John said, we're Border County up in the northwest of Ireland there, bordering the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. We were delighted to be involved as a project partner, and I remember the day, John, I walked into your office in Brussels the first time. It doesn't seem that long ago. For us, the EIS programme has been invaluable by way of learning and also insights, but in particular with real practical implications for the work we do. We are an enterprise support agency working with small and micro enterprises in County Donegal. Our highlights really was the learning we received from all of the other partners within the project. So learning how other regions and other organisations work with small businesses at local level. And from that peer learning, we identified good practices. And then from that, as John was saying, we developed the global EIS tool and the global assessment tool. I have to give, have to make reference there to our facilitator, Hans Christian Jaeger, who really helped us pull all of that together during the life of the programme and enable all of the partners pull the resources and knowledge to come up with both the tool and the assessment tool. It also gave us that opportunity for collaboration, not only within the topic of globalization and internationalization, but also around other areas and with some of the other partners. We've been talking about things around food and other areas of business development, and perhaps in the future will be other opportunities there. And also importantly, as our Joint Secretariat has identified there, it allowed us the opportunity to leverage funding from other sources of funding from our national government. In particular, we were able to use the EIS tool and the assessment tool as the framework in which we developed an export programme for companies in County Donegal and the neighbouring area of Northern Ireland, which was the Derry City and Strabane District Council area. So over the past 2 years, we have run a programme twice with 2 cohorts of businesses. So the format of that programme was one, raise awareness within the county and in the district area of Derry and Strabane District Council. We had over 50 businesses attend those workshops, and from that then 45 of the businesses went through the global EIS assessment, which enabled them and ourselves to identify their challenges and their opportunities, and also helped us to get an insight into, I suppose, what the challenges, the shared challenges of small and micro enterprises are in relation to internationalization. And that will be and has fed into some of the things that we in the local enterprise office are doing in Donegal currently and will be doing for the next number of years. As I say, we had 2 export programs delivered on a cross-border basis, 36 firms involved, but as well as the workshops, they also had one-to-one mentoring. And the critical thing that we identified fitting into that, the idea of planning, was that we also gave them a 1 day of market research as part of the program, which helped them, I suppose, identify more or fine-tune their market opportunity where that was. So if they said I have an opportunity in Belgium, it wasn't just all of Belgium, it was maybe down to a particular district or a city in Belgium. And the output from those programs is 35 export action plans. The second cohort just have 1 more meeting to finalise those and present those to us. And as we've said already, we leveraged a minimum of 125,000, is probably slightly more by the time we're finished, to deliver that program. I would maybe just then give an example of one company. We had a broad selection of companies. Some of them were engineering companies, some of them were food, some of them were IT. But in particular, we've identified one from Donegal as a case study. One is called MMG Welding. It's an engineering company involved in the marine sector in Killybegs, which is our largest commercial fishing harbour in the Republic of Ireland. They're a company that would do a lot of marine engineering, which servicing of the trawler fleet coming in and out of Killybegs, but they also do a lot of servicing of the energy sector, which would be the offshore oil and gas, but also wind energy off the western and southwestern coast of Ireland. They, over the last number of years, had identified the need to develop a product to give, I suppose, more sustainability to their business. They availed of other supports around innovation and market development and product development. And their product is, I suppose, it's a gangplank for primarily for vessel to vessel, but also from vessel to shore, and one that fits more easily on a boat and saves space. So Martin had been working on that for quite some time. So through the export development program, it helped them identify key markets, and for them it was the Nordic countries, Rotterdam in the Netherlands, Scotland. But interestingly, they've sold product into South Africa and Turkey as well in the interim. So through the program, it helped that business focus in on key markets, identify distributors, identify route to market, but also identify some of the issues around how they certify and how they get sort of brand awareness out there as well. So since doing the program, Martin has continued to engage with us, but we've been able to leverage him onto some other support programs, such as Co-Innovate, which is an international program we have with Scotland and Northern Ireland and the 6 border counties. And through that program, he's actually currently now working on a joint venture with a company in Scotland around his services. They've had exports sales of approximately 250,000, sold 30 units internationally, and a further 30 units within the Irish market. So 50% of the sales in this product so far have been export sales. So I think it's a particularly successful example. It also sees the benefit of a company engaging with an organization like ourselves, where we can link them into other supports and programs, as well as the practical program coming out of EIS. So just then to summarize, going forward, we definitely see the EIS program and the tool in particular and the assessment tool as models of good practice, which we hope can be replicated or used by other local enterprise offices, and indeed possibly feed into the review of the next operational program for the border and region, border and western region. Also, the program was used as the template for the development of an export program for the 6 border counties, which we will hope to be rolling out now end of this year, start of next year under the Brexit stimulus package. So I think the EIS project for us has been very meaningful, very practical, has added value to what we do and what we offer to businesses, but more importantly, we already are seeing the benefits coming through businesses who have engaged with us through the use of the EIS model.
Excellent, Michael. Thank you. That was a great presentation. Very good. Okay, and if people are interested in receiving a hard copy of the Global EIS brochure, we've got plenty of those. We had them printed out for the final conference, so please get in touch with us via the website interregeurope.eu/EIS and go to the contacts page and contact us through that, and we can arrange to send you copies of the brochure. Now we're going to Emilia-Romagna in Italy, our largest EIS region, 4.5 million population, 425,000 businesses, of which around 25,000 are exporting. Steeped in Interreg experience, they are of course managers of the managing authority of the Interreg Europe program for the Arion program and the Mediterranean program. Gianluca Baldoni is going to take you through their story of the EIS project. Gianluca, please, over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you see the presentation? Okay, very good. Thank you, John. Good evening to everybody. I'm Gianluca Baldoni from region Emilia-Romagna, the region located in North Italy, as you can see from the map. This is a a region with a large industrial sector, strongly export-oriented. Just to give an idea, last year the regional enterprises exported around 64 billions of euro. Emilia-Romagna region has specific policies to support the internationalization of enterprises, in particular SMEs, implemented both by European Regional Development Fund and regional resources. We support SMEs with measures based on direct financial contribution and to the companies, and we do not provide directly services. This policies has of course influenced our approach to the EIS project. From EIS we have learned some useful lessons. Let me just change my okay. From the peer review and staff exchange, we knew some good practices from which we received some suggestions to improve our measures. In particular, we learned the importance of adopting a set of criteria for evaluating the SME's potential, alongside with the evaluation of export promotion project that we were used to do. We also get from the project the idea to strengthen training and consultancies offered to the SMEs, alongside with a small contribution to realize some promotional actions abroad. How have we implemented this suggestion in our policies? We changed the assessment criteria of our measures. The action plan has influenced, in particular, 2 measures managed by the European region, the Emilia-Romagna region, sorry, accounting for around 14 million of euro and involving around 1,300 companies during 3 years of implementation of the measures. We have also applied this suggestion to a measure managed by Emilia-Romagna with the cooperation of the Regional Association of Chamber of Commerce, the Union Camere, one of the regional stakeholders of the project. In this case, we have introduced an assessment of the export potential of small and medium enterprises who apply to the calls, and also a training for companies, company staff in particular, as a mandatory part of the project to be approved. Furthermore, and let me change again. Okay. Furthermore, the knowledge of projects, partners, experiences has contributed to improve the interaction with the stakeholders in the definition of new measures. That is an important result in as the Emilia-Romagna region has a tradition of strong involvement of stakeholders in the design of its policies and of specific measures. Stakeholders, for example, are currently involved in the definition of 2 new calls of our measures for the next year, adopting the guidelines elaborated in the action plan. Even the Emilia-Romagna region staff has also improved the knowledge on different approaches and measures to support the SMEs internationalization. The participation to the project has increased the staff capability to evaluate regional measures and therefore to contribute to the definition of new policies and new measures. Finally, even if the regional operational program financed by the European Development Fund is near to the end, the EIS project, the EIS results are contributing to the definition of the regional policies for the next few years, both for the new regional operational program and also for programs based only on regional resources. We can say at the end of this experience that the participation to the project has been for us very, very positive. That's all. Thank you very much for your attention. I give back the floor to John. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Gianluca. That was a wonderful presentation and to time. So thank you very much for that. We're now going to head westwards to Alentejo in Portugal, beautiful city of Évora, population in the region of around about 750,000 people and around about 78,000 businesses, of which something like 97% are micro-enterprises. Alexandra Correa in the city of Évora. Over to you, please.
Okay. Hi everyone. We ask our regional stakeholders to share in a small video their experience and learnings with the EIS project. It was a fantastic project, and we are going to share the video with you. Foi uma oportunidade de trabalhar e debater um conjunto de aspectos relativos às políticas públicas de internacionalização das PMEs. Este projeto permitiu-nos pôr em contacto e, de certa forma, a trabalhar em conjunto, de forma muito intensa, os stakeholders regionais que, de alguma forma, promovem a internacionalização das PMEs aqui na região. Este debate permitiu-nos, por um lado, conhecer, fazer uma avaliação, uma autoavaliação das políticas que existem e, por outro lado, também dar sugestões de melhoria e de melhoria contínua destas mesmas políticas. Nós conseguimos, assim, conhecer boas práticas de outras regiões, adaptá-las e tentar integrá-las, ou pelo menos propor que elas venham a ser integradas nas nossas políticas e nos nossos programas regionais de apoio à internacionalização.
De âmbito regional, contribuiu para que nós tivéssemos um olhar completo sobre aquilo que existia no território. Por outro lado, é importante também identificar as questões relacionadas com a participação no âmbito da elaboração do instrumento que foi o Global EIS Tool.
Permitiu-nos também contribuir com boas práticas e outras oportunidades para dar a conhecer o trabalho que as associações empresariais do Alentejo têm feito em conjunto, nomeadamente através dos CIACs de internacionalização. É uma boa prática que nos tem permitido desenvolver práticas de trabalho conjunto e de network entre as próprias associações e, por outro lado, oferecer às empresas algo consistente que permita iniciar o seu processo de internacionalização. Deste ponto de vista foi desenvolvida uma plataforma, que é o Alentejo Export.com, que podem também depois visitar e onde vão encontrar toda a informação de como começar o seu processo de internacionalização. Podem encontrar empresas que pretendem internacionalizar-se ou, por outro lado, traders e importadores que estejam à procura dos produtos nacionais ou por setores de atividade.
Coordenadora Nacional da Interreg Europe Network, e foi no âmbito da Interreg Europe Network que nós colaboramos neste projeto da ADRAL, o Everywhere International SMEs, e é um projeto realmente bastante importante porque a internacionalização é um foco, por isso, para as nossas empresas. Empresas, sobretudo, que tenham um potencial para se internacionalizarem. Também a rede Interreg Europe Network tem como principal missão ajudar as empresas a se internacionalizarem e a inovarem. E por isso colaborarmos com estes projetos, que de algum modo são complementares, faz todo o sentido para nós.
E, sobretudo, perceber o que é que nós podemos melhorar e o que é que nós podemos contornar para que os projetos no futuro permitam realmente às empresas da nossa região, do nosso país, da comunidade europeia, serem mais eficientes no que toca procurar mercados externos, quer para a prestação de serviços, quer para a exportação e, acima de tudo, também criar sinergias interregionais.
Este tipo de projetos consideramos serem de elevada importância para o tecido empresarial nomeadamente do Alentejo, e no nosso caso da área do turismo, porque permite não só a troca de ideias entre diferentes parceiros, diferentes experiências a nível internacional, mas também porque nos permite de alguma forma dar um contributo para o desenvolvimento de novas políticas públicas. É muito importante que quem está no terreno, sejam as associações, sejam os empresários, possam ter esta oportunidade de contribuir para o desenvolvimento de políticas mais adequadas ao que se passa efetivamente no terreno.
Permitam-me que faça um breve testemunho sobre a participação da CCDR Alentejo no projeto EIS, um projeto que se iniciou com um repto lançado pela ADRAL, a Agência de Desenvolvimento Regional do Alentejo, ao qual nos associámos nos seus trabalhos desde a primeira hora. Foi um privilégio poder trabalhar em todos os momentos deste projeto, em parceria, com diferentes etapas. Desde logo porque nos permitiu que um conjunto de stakeholders regionais se associassem à CCDR Alentejo e à ADRAL naquilo que foi a participação e elaboração daquilo que é a experiência das políticas públicas viradas para a internacionalização, com uma perspectiva de que todos os stakeholders, e em especial as PMEs, pudessem trabalhar aquilo que eram os nossos sistemas de incentivo para a internacionalização das empresas. Foi um momento de aprendizagem por um lado, foi um momento de partilha por outro, um reforço daquilo que é as nossas competências internas, ao poder partilhar, ao poder acompanhar outras regiões e poder aprimorar estes instrumentos de política pública com o objetivo de que, num futuro muito próximo, e nomeadamente no momento que atravessamos, da preparação do próximo período de programação, possamos melhorar estes instrumentos. A CCDR Alentejo, obviamente, para além da partilha daquilo que são os seus instrumentos, absorveu também aquelas que são as experiências resultantes deste projeto e, obviamente, que vamos internalizar alguns destes conhecimentos naquilo que são o aperfeiçoamento dos instrumentos de política pública que já referi. Queremos, com isto, estar ao melhor e entre os melhores da Europa naquilo que significa os patamares de internacionalização das empresas. Parabéns a este projeto e à oportunidade que nos foi concedida, para além daquele que foi o grau de envolvimento que demonstramos desde a primeira hora e a disponibilidade, eventualmente, de continuarmos a trabalhar aquela que foi a sabedoria que atingimos.
Thank you very much, Alexandra, for that video. A lot of work went into it, you can see that, and it was great to see so many familiar faces from your local stakeholder group that we met during the first few workshops of the project. Okay, let's move now back to Hampshire, to the UK, to my colleague Andrea McCallum, who is the Enterprise and SME Growth Manager at Hampshire County Council. Andrea works with SMEs and business support organisations across the Hampshire area. Hampshire has a population of 1.8 million, home to 86,000 businesses, and with an economic output totaling 60 billion euros, it is one of the most successful economies in the United Kingdom and the largest sub-regional economy in the southeast of England. Andrea, the timing of ICE has had its moments, hasn't it, for us all? But you have some good news to update us on. Over to you.
Sorry, it seems like Andrea just disappeared.
Andrea has disappeared. Okay, well, we'll come back to Andrea then, and let us move on to the next presentation, which is Koprivnica, our smallest ICE region. It sits close to the Hungarian border in the north of Croatia. Population of around 30,000 inhabitants, been actively engaged in the project since day one. And at the outset of the project, Koprivnica said that exporting was often more serendipity than strategy. So has ICE changed that? Martina Mack, over to you to tell us the story from your region.
I don't know if I'm on. You're hearing me? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, John, for introduction. So I have to say at the beginning that we are very pleased that we are the part of the ACE project. So we learn a lot, and ACE make a huge impact of what we are doing here in Koprivnica. And I also hope that we influence some, we make some good impact on a national level. So for us in Koprivnica, being the part of the ACE, we seem that sharing a good practice and this peer review and all we have developed together is very valuable for us, especially that we developed global ACE tool together. We didn't have that kind of tool previous, so it was very useful in Croatia also, but for sure in our SME. Reaction when we do some screening and when we do implement that tool to assessment tool to our 10 SMEs in deep, the result was quite good, and another 50 which are well informed about what going global tools are and the benefit of it, was they were stimulated and they apply for the call for proposal to use the subsidy from the national calls to going abroad. But the most important thing is that we've somehow influenced that they put a little bit much effort on a planning, and when you do that, it's your export plan and your internationalization strategy is much more effective. So also with that going global tools, we developed the IT solution. We also think through our IT platform that we could do much more effectively that diagnostic tool. And the especially good thing is that we could gathering the information and have some kind of database which we can share with our stakeholder, and in that way we could also have a positive influence on a policy making that will provide the detailed information, what the SMEs really appreciate, what they seem to be very useful for them in that internationalization procedure, and share data directly to the stakeholder. Our stakeholders are Chamber of Commerce and the Ministry of Economy, and also Croatian agency Hamag Bicro. The second thing, which I think is a very good impact from the ACE project, is impact and our involvement in the BOND. BOND is network of business support organization in whole Croatia, so led by the Hamag Bicro agency. We use that organization to promote, to spread the information, and to improve in somehow some policies under the Hamag Bicro which are related to internationalization, and we succeed in that. And I hope that in the next period the Hamag Bicro will have a much more activities related to internationalization, and also use the global ACE tool and all the knowledge we share with them, what we have from the ACE partner, from peer reviews, and for good practice especially. Another good thing is that Hamag Bicro is, I can say, gathering the business support organization from whole Croatia. So we are able through that tool spread also information and good practice and all the benefit from EIS project to, I can say in total 150,000 SMEs in whole Croatia. It seems it's nationally. And in the end, it was some kind of big challenge for us because in Croatia we have a centralized system for the supporting, and it's operating by Ministry of Economy. So we have a great challenge to do some influence on a policy, and I hope that we succeed. I can say that we could measure our successfulness that the call for proposal on that measure internationalization of SMEs increase total budget allocation for the 50% if we compare that in 2 years ago, and also 50% more SMEs apply to that call for proposal. So I think our influence isn't directly, but indirectly we also have I can say good success in that, because we have a lot of stakeholder meeting and the workshop with the representative of the ministry, representative of Chamber of Commerce, and we also, I can say, have a good influence of the people who are designing the activities, and especially activities which are related to internationalization. And for the last, in a local level, City of Koprivnica also designed a new policy instrument, especially for internationalization. And thanks to the COVID, it's not so popular to say, but if we seem that situation a little bit changed from the COVID, we have much more interest to going global, because going global is focusing on a planning, maybe designing a new business model, or to rethink again how to improve your business, and that tool help us a lot. So that's for me from Croatia. And in the end, I have to say thanks again to being a part of it. Thanks, John, to invite us in a partnership of the EIS, and we will for sure use the global tools in the next period, and I hope very successfully.
Excellent. Thank you, Martina, for that. That was a really valuable presentation. I can see that your region has gained a lot from being part of this project. Good. I understand that my colleague, Andrea McCallum, is now with us, so I can hand over to Andrea from the Economic Development Department at Hampshire County Council to talk through the presentation from the Hampshire perspective.
Thank you so much, John. Many apologies for that glitch. And hello, everybody. I'm Andrea. Is in the southeast part of England, not far from London. I'm presenting also on behalf of our key local delivery partner, WSX Enterprise Limited. So just going on to the next slide, I'm just going to highlight some results and benefits from our involvement with the EIS project. And it was very much about the objective of focusing on influencing policy, funding and activity, which gave us a strong rationale for examining what was already happening in Hampshire in terms of internationalisation support. And in exploring that, it enabled us to start a conversation with all the key partners who are delivering internationalisation support of some sort or another in the county, but were not necessarily coordinating their activity together. So as part of the project, we were able to bring the different sort of networks and groupings together, and we now have a single working group, if you like, focused on internationalisation. And by coming together, that's given us a sharper focus on what can be achieved, drawing very much from the lessons of the EIS project and the recommendations. And then what we've also agreed or had a consensus on is that it's very much about the quality of the SME experience. So it's not just about meeting targets when we're looking to support these SMEs, but very much tailoring the support to their particular needs. So through the project, we have achieved much better communication, collaboration, and so on. We've had very good involvement from our National Department for International Trade, which has helped us a great deal and brought us much closer to the sort of centre of policy. And we've used the global EIS tool to build a consensus around how we support SMEs to internationalise, very much using the 4 steps to assist with that. And in establishing this working group, we also undertook an independent review of its activities, and that review strongly recommended that all the partners use the global EIS tool as a mechanism to support SMEs through their journey to internationalise. So in terms of impact, the EIS project really has been a catalyst for delivering improved customer experiences. So moving on to influence and outcomes, we've been able to influence 2 local industrial strategies. We've got 2 in the county, and one focuses on the north, one on the south. And these are key platforms for securing government support and funding for our local economy. In addition, the lessons from the EIS project and the recommendations have been able to support the development of other project applications, whether that's for EU funding or other sources. So, for example, we have 2 local enterprise partnerships in the region, and we work very closely with Enterprise N3 to develop an ERDF proposal around internationalisation. Similarly, inputting thoughts and ideas into developing a virtual export academy in the south, and other projects which have been led and developed by partner organisations. So really to summarise, I suppose, what we've achieved through the focus that the project's been able to give us and the tools that we've been able to develop from it, a real shift change in approach locally, high value commitment and involvement, not just from the Department of International Trade, but all our partners. So a better coordination, as I said, and that's also led the Export Working Group to develop an internationalisation action plan, very much drawing from the lessons and recommendations from the EIS project. So it's given us a really clear focus, and it means we're now making better use of our combined resources in evolving circumstances, and this will ensure that we maintain ongoing, relevant and sustainable support offer for SMEs in the region going forward. So I'd like to just finish really by saying the EIS project certainly has a legacy, and firstly that's been around helping us galvanise partners, bring them together in a value-added way, but it's also shaping future internationalisation activities which will evolve over time. So even though we are at the formal end of the EIS project, the legacy of it will continue to influence and have effect in Hampshire and the surrounding area well into the future. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Andrea. Thank you very much for that. Particularly the quote from Hampshire Chamber of Commerce about getting business support organisations around the table for the first time. If that isn't a vindication, a justification for the EIS project, I don't know what is. So it was great to see that in the presentation. Okay, just 2 more regions to go now. We're going to go to a very important region currently, the European Entrepreneurial Region for 2020, Pomerania, population of 2.3 million inhabitants and home to something like, I believe, 29,000 businesses, of which around 9% are exporting. A number the region clearly wants to increase. Katarzyna Matusak from the Pomeranian Development Agency is going to deliver the presentation from Gdansk. Katarzyna, over to you.
Hello, John, can you hear me? Yes, hello everybody. My name is Katarzyna Matuszak-Dzierżyńska, representing Pomerania Development Agency. As John mentioned, we are from Pomorskie region, located in the north of Poland, on the Baltic Sea coast. So we are a sea town. And 4 years ago, we wanted to join EIS project because we ourselves were on the beginning of our own adventure with export program in our region. We have just started a strategic program here in our region, and we are looking for cooperation, international cooperation, in order to improve our own activities here in the region. So we are very glad we could use EIS project, and we are hoping to find their good practices and exchange them with our partners, and it happened. So we are very happy with that. During the project, we have prepared the action plan where we have concentrated on three actions, 3 main tasks we decided to improve or even start. First 2 of them, scanning export potentials in SMEs and involving more companies and stakeholders. These were 2 actions that were already going on in our regional program, but we were not satisfied with them. So we wanted to improve them, and we wanted to be better prepared. And for example, we have our own tool in our export program, but thanks to EIS project, we could test a new tool and we could add new questions. We could test them with our SMEs. And for today, we have already used this tool on more than 270 SMEs, and the SMEs are very satisfied because they can easily see if their potential in export is visible, if what they have still to work on. So the tool is really very, very useful. About the second activity we were working on, it is really also a big success because from the beginning in our project, we have a lot of companies interested in our activities, but they were mainly from the big city of Gdańsk and of the surroundings of Gdańsk. And we wanted very much to reach companies from smaller locations, and we wanted to cooperate on daily basis with stakeholders located in small towns and small villages. And thanks to best practices of our partners, to the exchange of information, we could improve this activity. And right now we have 32 letter of agreement signed with stakeholders in the whole region, across the region, and we cooperate them on daily basis. And thanks to that, we already see that in our activities we have more companies from smaller communities. But the most important task we concentrated on in action plan and actually in whole EIS project, it was the advanced advisory service. It was already mentioned at the beginning of the conference. It was a big success for us because we managed to change the policy instrument in our region. We convinced our regional government to change the call for proposal for dedicated to business support organizations and SMEs. And finally, we could reach the moment where the missing element in our complex export system was completed. So we have now a 6-step model. We have covered all the important elements to support exporters in the region. And we have already this program functioning in the region. And what's more, we are now very satisfied because we could already use it when the COVID-19 affect the many companies. We could use these grants to help companies to sometimes change their scope of activities. And valuable moments I would like to underline as my last sentence in my presentation. Valuable moments for EIS. It was first of all peer review, which helped us to understand what is still missing in our regional export program. Interreg conference, where we could invite important guests and show our regional government and convince them to change the policy instrument. And all these moments where we could reach, we could get the best practices by staff exchange, by partners meetings, just all interaction with EIS people, and this EIS people I already meet. Thank you very much, guys, and I hope to meet you in other projects as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Katarzyna, for that presentation. So we're now pretty much there. We've just got one more region to go, and then we're going to have a little final video that we want to show you. We've also got one more Slido poll that I can tell everyone's so excited to hang around and wait for. So we're going to bring that to you as well very, very soon. Central Denmark is our last presenting region, whose city Aarhus held the European Capital of Culture in 2017 during the first year of the project, and we were lucky enough to attend part of that when we visited Aarhus. Central Denmark's population around 1.3 million, and during the project, around about halfway through, the responsibility for international business support was changed from the regional level to the central and local levels. Tarek Keeley from Central Denmark EU office is in charge of this presentation. Tarek, please, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and Thank you for helping me with the first slide here. Yeah, so just a few pointers. Yeah, 1.3 million inhabitants, 1/4 of the Danish population, and the second largest city in Denmark, Aarhus, which is quite smaller than Copenhagen, but nonetheless still the second city, which is also a very young city with almost 50,000 university students. The smart specialization priorities in central Denmark is the food sector, energy and climate, smart manufacturing, and creative industries, ICT, and tourism. And I will come back to this a bit just in a few moments. I just also need, as you said, John, halfway through Central Denmark region as an actor had to jump out of the project because there was a reform of the Danish business support system, and one of the outcomes was that the regions, the 5 Danish regions, were not supposed to support businesses anymore. So they had to jump out of the project, but we as the EU office could continue and are now finalizing the report and are of course also part of actually the program that was launched in phase 1 of this project. And I thought it was important to give credit where credit is due, because it was the Central Denmark region who have done most of this work. So what you see here is actually in the dotted line, the Global MID 2.0. That's the export program which has been formulated during the EIS project. And I will dive into the different aspects of that just in a second. First of all, I want to direct your attention to the screening of growth potential, because that is an activity which is not part of the internationalization program, but it's a broad thing which is done with all companies who are getting help with innovation processes, digitalization, and so forth. And here under also internationalization. And quite a few of the other partners have been very interested in this screening of growth potential. What we do when we screen for growth potential is we engage with the companies in a one-to-one talk, and we sort of together with them clarify what their abilities are, what their potential is, and how far they're willing to go in talking about internationalization. And then companies are categorized into 3 categories, either A, B, or C. A has the largest export potential. So they are mentally ready, they are structurally ready, and they have a product which has really good chances when going abroad. B, a bit less so. They might have some export already, but not in a structured manner. But they could benefit also from internationalization. And the category C is businesses which are just entering into the internationalization game, you could say, and needs some more basic features to get sorted before they're ready to approach it in a structured manner. And these A, B, and C levels are then opens the doors to companies for different kinds of programs they can enter. So on the left, you see the free and the collective workshops, which is for, we say, B and C, mainly C, because that's where you get to know the first steps. You're in the base camps. We focus on the company itself internally, and the motivation in the owner and the employers and employees. And then the other workshops are more focused on external conditions such as culture, which markets to go to, and so forth. And then companies can progress. So one company can start with a base camp and then get ready and then enter an export mentoring program or individual growth programs, which are the other programs you see here listed up in the model. All companies can already be ready to export, and then they can go directly into the programs, which are, you could say, higher up in the growth potential scale we have made. I think the individual programs, which are of course set apart from the collective ones, are also divided into 2. You could say one is more intensive and one is less intensive, or 2 programs are less intensive. In the EIS project, we have focused mostly on the collective workshops. So here you see our beloved model, the global EIS tool, and here is my little visualization of how the different activities or the different programs within the internationalization area actually fits into the different parts of the global EIS tool, and hopefully it will give you an idea of how you can use the tool. So you can use it to map your services that you as your own organization have available in the program, but you can also add from other services which are available for the SMEs. But because of course it's not most likely it will not only be you who are servicing SMEs. And here I'll just plot them in. We have base camps and workshops which are quite early, you could say, in the circle. So think, decide. It's mostly about thinking and finding out what your way forward would be. Then the mentor program moves a bit further along. So you have the mentors helping you with the decision and planning where and how to go. Market visits is of course a bit closer to the actual export. You actually go and visit a market, but there are also workshops before and after to decide which markets you want to enter as a company. And then the last two, I'll just put them up here because it becomes a bit messy. But the last two are actually not really decided on where to dig in. It could potential if you have high potential, but you need to work on your decisions or you need to plan. That's where the hours of external consultants that you can hire through this program are put. So it really depends.
Please wrap up, sorry.
Yeah. So it really depends on where you are. And actually, that was just it. I wanted to show how this has been a framework for our discussions throughout the project with all the stakeholders to see, okay, what are the offers for the companies and where could we do better? Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Tarek. That concludes all of the 7 EIS regional presentations. We have one more Slido poll. Please engage with that relating to the Global EIS tool. Could it be of use in your region? Do you think you might want to consider importing it? And we can try and help you with that. And now just to wrap things up, because I'm conscious of time, we're nearly at the end of the hour and a half that we scheduled for this conference. We have a little video which again sort of sums up the experiences of the partners in the project. So if we can just go to the video for the final video. Okay, I see we're getting some responses to the Slido poll, so that's excellent. We have band about 3/4 saying that they would. Please get in touch with us. Please get in touch with us and continue the dialogue after this event. The Everywhere International SMEs or EIS project, funded by Interreg Europe, has been of great help to my region, Hampshire, and all of the participating partner regions in identifying and pooling the range of international support for business. For us, the work of EIS has helped inform the export aspects of our new local industrial strategy and the creation of a new next step follow-up internationalization project in our local enterprise partnership area. EIS has provided peer-to-peer consultancy as regions have worked together to share and pool their expertise in the development of a new guide for exporting, the Global ICE tool. This tool can be seen as a foundation stone for business support organisations, be they public or private, in their quest to help more SMEs to internationalise, something that in the post-COVID-19 world will be all the more important as regions and countries emerge from the health crisis. And finally, I would like to thank all of the staff directly involved in the delivery of this project for their professionalism and dedication. ICE has been precisely so rewarding because of the range of excellent contacts and networks that have been built up amongst the project partners and the local stakeholders.
Staff exchange is the very powerful activities in ICE project Interreg Europe, which brought partners together to go in deep, to exchange the knowledge, exchanging know-how, methodology and process, how they are supporting and helping SME to go international. So we are really now getting to know what the challenges of other partners is, and that is powerful for us to design our methodology and to understand how to be most effective in that support for the SMEs.
To influence the policy instruments at local level, especially the instruments financed by European Regional Development Fund, is one of the objectives of the EIS project. And it's important to have an influence starting from the best practices we can see around the European Union at local level concerning the internationalization of small and medium enterprises. In region Emilia-Romagna, we have used the lessons learned from the experiences of our partners to improve the efficiencies of our policy instruments. And in this way, we reach to influence a consistent part of our budget, around 14 million euros of contribution to small and medium enterprises. A very good result for us.
Through our discussions in our inter-regional learning workshops in the ICE project, we have developed a tool that gives an overview of the internationalization process of an SME. We have named it the Global ICE tool. The tool has been applied in several actions in this project. It offers two distinct use cases. Firstly, the overview of different services that are available for businesses regarding internationalization can help identify holes or weak spots in the whole internationalization system setup. Secondly, the Global ICE tool can serve as a framework for discussion or evaluation when directly advising the single SME that is preparing to go international. Through the process, the tool has proved applicable across different national, regional and local setups, as well as across different types of business support organization.
EIS Global Tool is a great tool, but it is sometimes too difficult for SMEs to be used by itself. That's why we have created a network of expert brokers. Network of expert brokers is a network of well-trained staff that help SMEs in Pomorskie region to use this tool. They help scanning their export potential. We have agreed among export organizations in our region on a standardized service, and we have also agreed on a minimum criteria for any new expert who wants to join this network in the future.
The key benefits that Donegal Local Enterprise Office and Donegal County Council got from the ICE programme was we got a very valuable, or an invaluable tool that we subsequently then used both to access funding for a cross-border programme with our colleagues in Derry and Strabane District Council to deliver now two programmes, internationalisation programmes for 18 companies in both cohorts. And those companies would, through that programme, have received capability development, market research around potential markets, and particularly in Europe, but also in North America, and would also have attended a number of international trade missions as a result. So the programme has really given us very concrete results and outputs for both the county and for our companies.
After 2 years working together, visiting each other, discovering good practice and exchanging with their local stakeholders, the time came for each region to finalize and implement its action plans. The action plan will provide an insight to the outcomes of the learning process and paves the way to the phase 2, transforming learning into actions. All the activities in the action plans were linked to the project and derived from the interregional learning process. For example, some activities were inspired in good practices and learnings from one of the partners' regions. The action plan provides the information about the background and the link to the project, the activities to implement, the stakeholders involved, the time frame, the costs, and the funding sources.
Research has shown us that those businesses who get involved in export are more successful and more resilient than their stay-at-home cousins, i.e. those that don't. So now we all operate in a global marketplace. It's really important that businesses don't limit themselves to their domestic markets and internationalise their businesses, helping them to stay competitive and more resilient to unexpected events, just like COVID-19. So, as lockdown lifts, businesses are thinking about their next moves. And as confidence grows again, demand across the world is picking up and SMEs need to be ready to take advantage of it. Certainly the opportunities that come from that. The EIS project has provided a one-off opportunity for partner countries involved to take a really close, good look at what they do and rewrite how they encourage and support businesses. This in turn has helped us to work closely with our stakeholders to develop a really good framework and support that will enable SMEs to do just that. So it's never been easier now for SMEs to internationalise their business.
Okay, we've pretty much reached the end of our conference now. I salute you all for being part of this event today with us and coming on and hearing the journey that we've been through. It's been very informative, as you can see from everything you've heard. It's been extremely enjoyable as well. I wonder if Councillor Andrew Joy would like to have the last words. Councillor Joy, are you with us still?
Yes, I am with you, and I followed most of this. I did have to take a break in the middle. Could I just say, I mean, there's little that I can add, which has not actually been stated by all of you collectively, which has just shown what an outstanding programme this has been. But essentially, what this has told me is that there is enormous strength in collaboration and cooperation. It's built resilience, it's enhanced the potential and recognition of resourcefulness, and frankly, it's encouragement for the future. So I congratulate you all, and frankly, I'm full of admiration for what you've managed to achieve over the last 3.5 years. Thank you all very much.
Okay, on that positive note, we'll sign off. Thank you all for your participation and see you next time.